Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to go over our urban worm bags, version 1 and version 2. Version 1 has been harvested. I'm not going to show that, but it has been harvested a couple times and is just doing phenomenal. It really is. Anything I throw in it goes right through the system, comes out the other side as beautiful castings. Version 2, it's been a little bit tougher to get it going. It feels like it keeps drying out or it's too wet. I can't seem to balance it out quite right. I don't know if part of it is also the worms. The European Nightcrawlers, they seem to either want to escape the bin or they seem to want to go dig way down into the bin. They don't seem to want to stay in the food layer, I've noticed. Sometimes the food has turned to mush, other times it's been really great. But let's take a look at these two bag systems and see how they're really doing. As I said, the version 1 is just humming right along and has been doing phenomenal. And I can't wait to show you how that one's doing and the castings that I got out of it just today. So let's take a look. All right, here's our urban worm bag version 2.0. Let's take a look and see how this is doing. Oh, this looks a little dry in here. None of this cardboard on top is wet. I'm just going to move that to the side. My gloves are a little wet, but that's about it. This looks very dry. It must have dried out from, I was trying to dry it out before, but I feel like I've left this a little bit too long and a little bit too dry. I am seeing, just to dig this up here, some worms down here in the bottom, the lower section where it's wet. So they are in here. There's still some food in here, surprisingly. You can see here. Looks like they're clinging to the sides here for the moisture that's there. Definitely a little bit hard. Oh, that's a corn cob. So this right here is a corn cob that's in there. It feels a little bit too hard right now. Definitely not enough moisture. So these are the European Nightcrawlers. They're much bigger than the reds that I normally have. So as you can see right there, that guy's pretty big. So this needs more food. It needs more moisture. But other than that, it looks pretty good. I know I had at one point a fruit fly issue in here. Just dig this up from the corner a little bit down here too. So you can see another big worm right on there. Just crunch this apart a little bit. Still, it's good consistency for the soil. It just flakes right apart. It's not overly dry to the point that it's, you know, like sometimes you have, it's like can turn into a rock if you really let it sit. But this isn't too bad. But this is definitely too dry for them. They need more moisture in here. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to add a bunch of food here to the middle. I'm going to add some food that's sort of moist to add in here. So I'm going to grab that. I'll be right back. All right, so I've got the food here, and what we're going to add is this frozen watermelon. This stuff has a lot of moisture to it. It should help moisten up the bin a little bit, but also at the same time, it's a really good food source for these worms. So we're just going to cover this back up. Get him off there. And we're going to throw, I think, some fresh bedding on top of here, too. So I'll just grab my bedding. I have it pre-shredded, always ready to go at a moment's notice. So there we go. Now, as we move into these winter months here, for me, this bin is going to start doing really well. And the reason why is it holds moisture really well. I let it dry out this time, but normally these bins are kind of, the urban worm bags that I have are a little bit moist, especially during the summer months. But as we get into winter here, I'm going to find that these things they really hold in the moisture well. I'm going to make sure I keep them moist, but they'll hold it in. It's not just going to drain away like it will in some of my other more open systems that I have, such as my vermibag. But during the summer, this typically has too much moisture, and I have a lot of issues with keeping the moisture, getting the moisture out of here. So this right now, we're just going to add more moisture because it's so dry in here. And I'll have to monitor this a little bit better this week to make sure that it's got enough moisture. Get some moisture on the sides here, get a little rundown into the bag itself. Clean off my gloves a little bit more. But once I shut this, it should be pretty good to hold in this moisture, maybe get this really going again well. I haven't been adding food to it. I haven't been keeping up with this really well, I have to say, lately. I've had a lot more other stuff going on, but that's an update for this one. And let's move to the next one. All right, as the other part of my maintenance is this is my urban worm bag version 1. I just did a castings harvest from it from the bottom. Really looks good, nice and crumbly. A lot of worms in it, but that's not a big deal for me really. I have tons of worms in the bag, but it really looks good. I mean, this stuff, I mean, it's really crumbly. It's great consistency. You know, even some of these clumps over here on this side, which I've already broken apart most of them, but even some of these, like these clumps, they just come right apart. So that's exactly how you want your castings to look. It'd be nice if they were a little darker. Primary problem with that is the fact that these are primarily cardboard. So when you get a lot of cardboard, you get these, you know, brown castings instead of dark black. So let's open this up. This thing has been a star in my basement here. I mean, it just handles things really well. It's a little bit overly full. I probably would need to do another harvest on it at some point. But as you can see right in here, I mean, like it's wet, but it's not too wet. You know, there's some cloth in here that's gone through. Like this is some of the stuff that actually came out the bottom. I'm just putting it in through here again. Really good loose material, but lots of worms in here. Let's see if I can find some here. So as you can see right here, there's just lots of worms, and this all just flakes right apart. I mean, this is exactly what you want your castings to look like, is like this. I mean, these just come apart so light and fluffy, and you can see there's a lot of little worms in there. So they're doing really well in here. I've put in a lot of coffee grounds in this bin, so there's a lot of coffee. Again, I've got some cardboard in here. You know, there's one of my pizza boxes right here that I had on top. I'm probably going to put a new one on here since that one's really starting to go. Some coffee grounds that are a little bit dry. Let me just break these apart. Again, more coffee grounds. As I said, I've been throwing a lot of coffee grounds in these this bin right here. Let's just dig over here for a second. There's more worms. Look at this. Look at those. All those worms in here. I mean, they're just doing really well. I mean, you can just see as it flakes apart, there's more and more. I mean, there's just a ton of worms in here. I mean, really, there's a lot. It's doing really, really well. As I said, this is one of my stars as far as what I can add into this thing. So, and I just tend to throw, I mean, this is a husk of something in here, but most of the stuff I throw in here, by the time it gets to the bottom, it's broken down. And I've harvested this a few times. Let me just dig down here. So this, again, more coffee grounds that are just kind of ground together there. Let's just dig down in the center here. It's a little bit tough, but look at that. See? All this stuff just sort of still flakes apart, even from the center where you think that things are getting kind of compacted, and on the sides when it gets compacted. There are some peels in here. It looks like, I think these are, if I had to guess, these are artichoke peels right here that are still taking a while to break down. But they're coming along, and it's still up top. It's not down all the way to the bottom yet. So I've also thrown in something else in here, and that is peanut shells. I'm going to see if these break down or not. These are non-salted peanuts, so it's not. I don't have to worry about salt, but I'm hoping that they'll slowly break down in here as well. I actually have some more to add. So let's just go to this side, take a look. And again, some more hard coffee in here. Coffee tended to dry out a little bit more than I like, but that's okay. I just kind of crunch it up. You know, I found these chunks of coffee like this. And this right here is a chunk of coffee with the filter on it. Just grab them, squeeze them together. They just break right apart. The worms are coming off there. Let's just see real quick over on this side. Again, big chunk, but flakes right apart. Great consistency for these castings. I mean, all throughout the bin, they're just really, really good consistency. A little sticky, but not too bad. So, as you can tell, a lot of cardboard in here, and I'll probably add some more. But I do want to do a massive feeding in here real quick as well. And I think I'm actually, because it's all frozen, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spread this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of spread all these things out right here. And I'm going to do what I've done in the past. I'm going to take a pizza box, put it right here on top. This way there's no worms that are coming in contact. I don't always do this, but with this bin I have been lately. And here we go, just a mixture of food scraps. We've got some banana, a big thing of broccoli, some lettuce, apple cores, some cut up celery, some more carrot. So this stuff will break down pretty quick. Hopefully this piece is a little big. I probably should have chopped that up a little bit more, but that's okay. And then I've got a clementine peel in there, so not a whole lot of food, but should be enough to get them going. So what I'm going to do now is add a little bit more bedding to this. Right here, I'm going to add a little bit more cardboard right on top of this right here. I'm going to put another pizza box right on top of it to just kind of seal in some of that moisture, so that way it kind of drips back down instead of having to go to the top of the bag. And hopefully this will all, the moisture as these things defrost is going to get into the bottom one. Worms are going to come up through, they'll eat their way into it, and this will kind of keep it a moist area underneath there. So that's my update for this Urban Worm Bag version 1. So we did version 1, we did version 2.